now let's go ahead and bring out Figuarts Chun-Li. Real quick, I'll talk about the aesthetic differences here. Now, Figuarts Chun-Li is supposedly based on her appearance in Street Fighter V. I don't think she looks much like this at all in Street Fighter V. I think she looks like this in Street Fighter 3 and maybe cutscenes or something, or some of the like anime features. But she has a much darker blue that is with a shinier finish, and then more of a gold versus Jada's yellow detailing. The red on her pants is just a little bit lighter. Her skin tone is a bit lighter. The face is really a big difference. So again, going back to it's hard to hit kind of the moving target that is Street Fighter likenesses. But I do think, like I said, Jada's captures a more natural, not entirely like photoreal human, of course, but more comic book slash video game, whereas Figuarts is really manga, anime inspired features. Other differences. You can see the sculpts do have some variance between them. I think one of the nice details of Jada's figure here is the wrinkles on her abdomen. You can see I've never liked the way that Figuarts is just this like flat white piece. It just seems unfinished to me. So I really like that detail on Jada. You can see Figuarts has a bit more folds around her curves in the fabric. Jada does have some folds in the fabric, but they don't necessarily like follow the shape of her thigh there. The detailing is a little bit finer on Figuarts, and that might just be like different renditions of the costume. She has a butt wrinkle for some reason. Let's see. The texture on the Jada dress is a difference to note. And the design on her little, I don't know what this is. This part that appears to be like a collar, a tied collar of some kind. On Figuarts, it's just triangles. Is it supposed to be triangles? I'm not sure. But I think this looks a little less sci-fi. So I like that as well. The muscle anatomy in the legs, I don't think either of them is like really hitting the mark. Figuarts has quite a lot of different muscle segments. Some of them seem to be in the right places. I'm just not sure they're quite those shapes, but they have to kind of fill the space, I guess. She has this really strange shading on the side of her leg there. It kind of makes it look like there's a dimple there, which is a little unnatural. And Jada, you can see, has definitely less detailed, refined muscle anatomy, but the overall shape is right. I think a little bit more refinement could go into this sculpt. But it is decent. It is undoubtedly a thigh, so let's see. I like also Jada's got a little bit more substantial arms. Figuarts, her arms are just much softer and less muscular and much narrower from the sides, especially. Okay, we've already looked at Jada's articulation, so I'll set her aside and we'll run through the differences on Figuarts Chun-Li. Her head is on the old style hinge neck joint, so there's a hinge between the neck and the hair. The faces are interchangeable, and then there's a ball peg at the bottom of the neck connecting to the torso. She gets a decent bit of tilt, a little bit of looking down, not a lot of up because of the way the peg goes into the hair at this angle instead of straight up. The hair buns are on swivels, but you can see if you orient them the way gravity would dictate with the ribbons flowing downward, they don't really sit right on her head unless she's looking more up. But then from the front, they look windswept to the sides permanently, which is a little unnatural. So to get them to look a bit more natural, you have to rotate them back a little bit. Let's see. She has, I won't call it a butterfly joint. It's kind of like a butterfly joint, but it's more just like a socket ball peg. I think it's just a single ball peg in there that you can see has this little floating cap around it. It does let her bring her arms a little bit in front of her body, but really not really outdoing what Jada did with no extra joint in the shoulder. I think if you get it just at the right like apex of that curve there, she gets a little bit more crossbody range. And then just a hint of range across back. But again, that's almost straight. So that joint isn't doing a ton. It does let you kind of raise and lower the shoulders, so she can do if she moves her head out of the way, she can almost bring her hands together above her head. I didn't check if Jada can do that, but I doubt it. So yeah, Jada, it goes like respectably straight up, which is what you want when there isn't any kind of extra joint in the shoulder, so that's good. And then the Figuarts, you can see if, again, you got to get these little cuffs in just the right place. She can get a little more range if she gets her head out of the way and tilts her torso back and all kinds of special caveats. But I can see why if Jada maybe saw this figure and was like, I don't really know if that butterfly joint is worth the cost. That's a reasonable take. She has, SHF now has a single hinged elbow, but it does get the same range as Jada, pretty much spiked to the shoulder poof. I think exactly the same torso setup, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe, does she have... Yeah, she has lower torso ball as well. So she's got the same torso setup as Jada. Her hinge on the shoulders is actually only inside the cuff, or the poof. So she actually can't do like a straight up T-pose very well. As a result, you have to kind of rotate the shoulders back a little bit for her to do that. But when we do, let's see, she can tilt on the ball on the top and the bottom, and that gets 45 degrees or so, so that's good. Going forward, back. Let's see. Okay. That's pretty much all the same on the upper body then. Just a little more complicated in the shoulders and the neck. Less complicated in the elbows, but still works. Her wrists are on the import style wrists with the ball hinge, so that's nice. It does give you the option to have her with a horizontal hinge, or if you fuss with it, you can get a vertical hinge. Okay, the hips are a newer style Figuarts hip, this kind of swivel hinge combo, so you get this swivel motion forward and backward. Forward range, very good. Backward range is actually also very good because her butt is sculpted onto her leg, and so it kind of rotates with the leg. You do get kind of a weird gap in the front as a result of that, but the skirt covers it up, so I guess that's why they went with that, and you do kick straight back there. And then the hinge lets you do a really good side split. Looks a little funny, but again, the skirt covers it up pretty well. And then a controversial take for Figuarts Street Fighter figures are these single hinge knees, which don't get quite the same amount of range as Jada's double hinge knee, and looks mighty unsightly, I think. When flexed, looks fine. When straight, no thigh swivel, not at all. You get a little bit on just within that hinge, but it's kind of Mafex style where it's like very limited range, and then no boot swivel either. So definitely a bit more limited in the lower body, but her joints are nice and smooth and stable. Really good ankle down, good ankle up. Decent pivot, and that's it. All right, now it's time for SHF Chun-Li and Jada Toys Chun-Li to go head-to-head in the Ultimate Posing Challenge. Starting out here, I have put Chun-Li into her neutral pose, her neutral stance, rather, where her weight is mostly on this back leg, and the back leg is more bent. Still, both knees are facing forward, and her front leg is curved out in front of her body with toe pointed and just touching the ground, but not much weight placed on it. Her spine is fairly straight, relaxed, poised. Her back arm is coming in front and protecting her abdomen with the palm out and down, and then her front arm is pointing out and palm facing up. I had a bit of an easier time with Jada Chun-Li here. I think it comes down to the lower leg articulation, the ankles being a bit sturdier than the Figuarts ankles, and having just a little bit deeper forward hinge movement on this back foot really helped. The Figuarts struggles because of the laces here. And so it doesn't get as much forward hinge movement. And as a result, I had to get her to balance, I had to tilt her spine forward a bit. Compared to Jada, you can see is more upright. That was the main difference. It's much more apparent if you look at them from this angle. You can see how much more upright Jada is compared to Figuarts. All right, I think that's the first pose out of the way, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring them to the side now, and let's try a more challenging one. And I'll kind of talk through what I'm attempting to do. All right, the first one here, we'll try her Kikoken. Just the default Kikoken. In Street Fighter 6, she has a default level Kikoken and a Overdrive Kikoken. So we'll look at both of those, but let's start with the default one first. So this pose, she fires it with one hand. That hand is extended out from the arm, fully extended, her palm out. Her torso is bent very far back and a little to the side, so you can see that rotation. This leg is forward, out to the side, bent slightly at the knee, and then this foot is flat to the ground pretty much. That's going to be a little tricky with that knee. And then this hand is up and out like that. And finally, this leg is forward and a deep bend at the knee. something like this. There goes my light. Okay. And let's go ahead and mimic that with the SHF. I mentioned her arms don't go quite completely up to a T-pose, so I'm going to rotate it this way a little bit. You get some joint action at the armpit there, but otherwise it wouldn't be horizontal. This arm is going to be all right. Hair buns, let's go ahead and turn those so they are back, up and rotated at the torso. This leg out. Foot pivot, I didn't mention in the articulation, but this SHF Chun-Li does have a toe hinge also. And then this leg back. All right. Let's see how we did. You think this one's gonna balance? I think I can get the SHF torso a little bit more dramatic, but there's going to be a little bit more of a gap visible there. But gotta do what you gotta do. Okay. I think those are pretty much even. I don't see too much compromise on either of these poses, so I'm really happy about that. I think I can even do the same kind of flare on the torso with Jada here. Maybe a little bit of swivel on that thigh. And that looks maybe a little too dramatic in both cases. I think she's actually angled down just a bit more, like that maybe. Okay. And while neither of these figures comes with a Kikoken fireball, I do have the Hadouken fireball from Jada Ryu. So I can just give you a quick peek at that, if Figuarts here will cooperate. There we go. The Hadouken obviously has Ryu's hands sculpted inside of it, but you can't really see them from the side, so lower that. Something like that. You know, just get this at the right height. There you go. That's kind of the idea. All right, let's try Overdrive Kikoken. This is a pose where the butterfly joints would possibly come in handy, but I think we'll get away without it. So this is going to be neck looking all the way up, arms extended out to where she's looking, in front of the torso as much as they can, hands bent up, palms out. Oops. Don't lose your head. Okay, from there, torso bent back all the way. And now, the tricky part, you gotta get her legs in the right position where she can balance flat on both feet. Now, will she actually balance like this? I mean, in the game, this would be a pose that really should require a stand, because I think she technically points her toes up like that. So we'll just take a look at what that looks like. We'll get the same going for Figuarts here. Same kind of principle applies to the joints at the shoulders. If you want to get them across the body the most, it helps to just kind of angle them right. Okay, got the wrists going the right direction. Head looking back, hair buns. Don't forget to pose those hair buns. And then up on the toes. Yep. I think I maybe bent her legs a little too much. Very comparable. Again, from the front, Figuarts has a little bit of an advantage with that extra shoulder joint, but not much. I did not mention that single knee on Figuarts. To get even the range that it has, she has to have these like scoops in the back of her thighs, which looks pretty weird. All right, that's Overdrive Kikoken. Let's see, we did the lightning kicks a bit earlier, really quickly looking at the accessories, but this one is a straightforward one. She's balanced on one leg, kicking the other leg up and out to the side. Her torso is bent back. This arm is pulled this way. She is looking where she is kicking, so that's good. And then finally, this arm is tight, bent, kind of touching the side of her head almost. And then I think the toe is pointed on the kicking leg, and then she kind of like that. Now, will she balance on one leg here with no stand to support? It's possible. This is the good leg with the stronger knee joint for Jada, so I'm going to give it the best chance I can. Okay. That's pretty good. I think I can get it a little bit better with the arm position, the torso, and the angle of that front leg. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. All right, same for Figuarts now. This leg is kicked up and out to the side. This one's flat, torso's sideways. Arm is out. Hand is on. Okay, yep, just reattaching that. And this arm is out, bent, touching side of the head. And yeah, that's not a problem. Figuarts balance test. It's going to be hard to balance both of them. I have a very, very wobbly table here, and part of that is to make this part of the reason is to make this I said it was the ultimate posing challenge, so the challenge, who can balance on my wobbly table? Look at that, it's so wobbly. All right. Figuarts, I did mention the ankles. They don't have quite as much grip in the hinge, so they are a little tricky, surprisingly. Like, they look good, they move smoothly, but it's just a little less tension combined with her feet being quite narrow. It's making this pretty difficult. All right, lightning kicks all around. I'm pretty happy with that in both cases. Okay. Now, I'll show what aerial lightning kicks will look like. Obviously, this is another one you'll need a stand, but very similar, except now instead of straight on the ground, the back leg is pointed this way, and you can even get some more dynamic, the back leg is bent at the knee as much as possible. There you go. And then Figuarts do the same. Bend it like that. All right. Another very well-known pose, the spinning bird kick. So this one is a front-back split, and let's see what she do with her arms. I think she kind of T-poses with them. And then she does kind of the figure skater thing where she starts the spin with them out and then brings them into her body to kind of accelerate the spin. So we'll kind of do, how about this, like elbows bent in and then palms like that. Okay. Both feet are kind of semi-pointed. And then the front back split. We'll get that as good as we can here. And then, of course, going to be a bit difficult to balance her on her head. But there you go. And I guess we can leave the front and back split going here for the next pose, but let's get the Figuarts spinning bird kick as well. No problem. Follow up to that one with still the front back split, the Hasenchu. This is her, I don't know, it kind of looks like an overhead, but I don't think it actually is an overhead. She just does kind of like a reverse bicycle kick, I guess you could call it, where she goes like that and kicks down. So we'll do the final pose from that move. Sounds a bit like a sneeze, Hasenchu. This one, she has quite a bit of tilt on the torso. So you want to kind of angle her like that. That's pretty good. Let's see if we can balance. I'm going to fake the torso angle just with the arms a little bit. I think it'll be easier if her skirt piece is not tucked. Yeah, okay, that's the way to do it. Obviously, leaving her like this is going to deform that skirt a little bit over time, so you don't want to do it over a long period of time. But for now, it's all right. I think I can get that torso position deeper. So with Jada, what I'm doing, crunch forward and then rotate, and that should get her in the right spot. And then she doesn't have butterfly reverse, so I'm just gonna use the hinge. I know the costume decoration shouldn't be here, but I think overall the silhouette will be right, and so that's better for me. Okay, so it's something like that. And then that torso should get really down, as low as it can go. It's almost to the point where her hand could be touching the ground and providing a bit more support. Okay, that's pretty good. I had it good and I had to rotate the arm. Isn't that always the case? Oh, her back skirt is getting in the way. That's the problem. Okay, I have concluded that you need an extremely strong core to successfully execute this pose, which action figures do not have. So the idea is like her torso should be leaning like that, but that's going to be really hard to do. So I am going to have her just be, well, let's maybe just have her cheat a little bit with the arm. And we'll do the same with Jada here. That's the idea. You would see it from this angle. And let's get our arm down a little bit more. There we go. Okay. All right, now we're going to try for the high kick at the end of her L2. L2 is called the Hyokusen. Okay, so this one, front leg is straight up. Ankle is bent, and let's see, her body is fairly neutral. This arm is in front of her lower abdomen. And then this one is bent up to above her head with the palm up. This one, the palm is out. Is that right? Let's see. And then her torso actually should be turned a little bit. And then facing that way. And then I'm gonna have a problem with that knee. It's not gonna let her kick as straight as I would like. Let's see, what can we do about that? Okay, actually, I had it wrong. With this front arm, it should be more just straight out with the palm out, kind of like that. I think that's sort of the idea. And now, all right, success. Go ahead with the same pose for Figuarts here. Leg all the way up. You see that really weird scallop cut out of the back. I'm a little nervous about balancing her on one foot again, but that looks pretty darn effective, I think. Balancing both of them at once is going to be quite a trick. Let's do one at a time. Let's see if I can get that leg to stay straight despite the looseness. Okay, that's pretty good. And then Figuarts. I'm not so happy with Jada's torso here. Let me fix that. I think the trick here is you've got to get this leg up and out kind of to the side, and then almost bend the torso back and then tilt. There we go. Back, back, back more. Okay, that's decent. It's just a little hard with that knee to make it fully extend, but it still looks pretty good. And if you don't have that loose knee, which I'm assuming is just kind of a random error on my figure, you're gonna have a little bit better time. But I think both of these come out pretty strong in this round also. I think, what is her regular launcher kick called? I think she's got a couple more kick poses we can try. Hey. Alright. I'm not going to do anything from the level 3 because it's kind of a combination of her different moves that ends in sort of a Hasenchu attack. The Yokusen kick is pretty nice and dramatic and not too far from this, so we'll do that really quick. This is an aerial heavy kick. Similar kind of setup here. The main difference is she's jumping and she is kicking like that. So Figuarts real quick. There you go. Yoso kick is stomping on their head. We'll skip that. Serenity stream. Okay, this is an exciting one because this was one I just think Figuarts is not gonna be able to do due to lack of leg swivel. So Serenity Stream, she gets down into almost like a lotus sitting position. And has like one leg crossed, oh my goodness, on top of the other. Well, we can see the inner workings of that hinge ball. As I accidentally pull it off, let's get that reattached here. There we go. All right. Yeah, so the problem is she's not going to be able to cross her legs when they are up like that. We'll have to kind of do a bit of a middle ground, and then her torso leans forward all the way, head up all the way, arms back, out, palms out. This is her like secondary stance that changes up her moveset, kind of. Yeah, that is not very successful for Figuarts. Unfortunately, it's just, yeah, the leg articulation doesn't have the ability to swivel enough to pull that one off. Let's see if Jada can do it a little better with the thigh swivel and the boot swivel. Oh yeah, already I can tell this is going to be easier. So the problem with the Figuarts is her inner thigh cannot be pointing up when the hinge is collapsed. But that's basically what she needs to be doing here. When the hinge is closed, the inner thigh needs to point up. She can point the inner thigh up, but only when the hinge is open. And when that's the case, it's out to the side. And so that's why she can't do it. And there goes the other leg. Okay. We'll get that back on. No problem. Okay. All is well. But yeah, that ball joint inside the hinge is just not enough swivel for Serenity Stream. But you can see Jada is able to point the thigh up thanks to the thigh swivel. Point the inner thigh up, I should say. I'm just noticing there's like a little scratch mark there. I don't know if I did that or if that was there, but okay. Knee bent all the way. Ankle bent back all the way. And then the other leg goes up over this one. Upper body is forward. Oh yeah, this is great. That is excellent. That's very exciting. Okay. Yeah. Gotta do it justice for the win on this round. I think this is the first definitive win for any of the rounds. Okay, let's try to get this as tight as I can in the legs. That looks really good. That's a tricky pose to pull off, and they did it pretty well. Now, I think critique, this should maybe be more like that. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, that's it. That's the pose. Okay. I can hear the Chun-Li music, so I did it right. Yep, the Serenity stream goes to Jada. Okay, let's see. Tenku kick. This is her launching reverse high kick. So we'll try that one. By reverse high kick, I mean she's kicking back like that. Launches opponent into the air. This arm is out. This arm is kind of up at her head like she commonly has been doing. And then torso is like that. And then she's looking back over her shoulder. Straighten that ankle. And this actually is more like that, I think. Hang on a second. Okay, here we go. This is a very uncomfortable looking pose. Gotta say. That elbow. So I think these elbow hinges look better if you bend the forearm hinge first and then just use the bicep hinge for a little extra range at the end. Otherwise, the proportion of the length of the forearm relative to the bicep will look off. All right, and balancing now. Let's see if she can do it. All of these one leg poses, I am happy to be doing them on the good knee. If I were doing them on this knee, I would be having a lot more difficulty and probably very little success. Okay, that one is tough. And I don't think I've nailed it. Let me try to review this for just a second. Okay, I think what I'm doing wrong here is her body is crouched forward, not back. Not leaning back. Okay, I have popped the lower torso, but that's no problem. It should go back together smoothly. You can just see the ball and socket in there. Let me get this off camera. Hear the click. That's good news. Okay. So, yeah, her torso needs to be crouching forward like this. And I think that foot needs to be more angled, because it's kind of like a heel kick. Close. Okay, come on. Aha. There we go. Okay. And now Figuarts. So reverse kick. Crunch forward. Hand is doing that curled shape. Okay. That's really good. I think that was a bit easier for Figuarts. Balance, once again though, her ankle joint is just not loose, but a touch too soft in the tension. Or you could say loose. But when I say loose, people will think, oh, it doesn't hold. But it will hold. It just goes out of position a little too easily. Okay, I think we're getting close. Okay, always easier with two hands. I find with this hand I can put it on her toe to kind of feel which way the foot wants to spin. And when it doesn't want to spin, that's when I know I've got it. Okay. Nope, that was close, but not quite. Is this like watching someone play Jenga? That's kind of how I am imagining it. Ooh, somehow I find this relaxing. I'm not really sure where that comes from, but maybe not relaxing, but rewarding, I guess. No, it's relaxing in a way. The palm on this Figuarts left hand is not quite right, but I am not touching it. Okay. Gotta put the center of gravity right over the foot. Center of gravity is usually in the abdomen for a human. A well-balanced figure will be roughly the same. Okay. There we go. That is the Tenku kick. Now, I think that might be everything. I might be missing some, but I think you get the gist. And that was a good one to cap it off. Very difficult pose. So I think both of them came out really well in this posing challenge. The Serenity stream round goes exclusively to Jada. Let's go ahead and give her victory pose. What's Chun-Li's victory pose look like? I forget. You know what? I think she puts her hands together across her front, so I don't know if we can do the victory pose. We'll just kind of make something up. I'll give her her hand's already up to her forehead, so just wiping off the sweat. Phew. That got me sweating. I think that's the lights, though. And Figuarts over here, a very respectable showing. Yeah, I think really you'd probably be happy with either of these figures for most of your Chun-Li posing needs. Aesthetic preferences are going to come into play more. Also, just blending in with other lines. I think Jada Chun-Li will be a better fit with the Marvel side of the house. So, more your Marvel versus Capcom game. But obviously blends well with the other Jada figures. And then Chun-Li from Figuarts. Is going to be a good fit for an anime collection. Obviously, if you have any of the other Street Fighter Figuarts. Or if you really want her Street Fighter 5, not Street Fighter 5 costume, outfit, likeness, whatever, that could work. Okay, while going through this, I noticed a couple of other little things to call out on Figuarts here. This skirt does not really rest on her hip, and that looks a little odd. You can't pull it down very much. You can see there's a gap above her hip between that and the skirt. I think that was the main thing I noticed. But a very well fought posing challenge. And oh, you know what? Chun-Li's victory pose in Street Fighter 2 has her smiling, and so I think that's possibly going to be an alternate expression on a future variant of this Chun-Li figure. I think we'll probably see this mold again, and I am okay with that. I think, like I said, the leg muscle anatomy could use a little bit of refinement and maybe some rounding. The Figuarts is closer to the mark, but maybe went a little too far on the muscle definition. Although, like I said, every day is leg day in the world of Chun-Li. And there's that weird side dimple. It's not really a dimple. The sculpt is smooth there, but it's just got some dark shading in there that creates the illusion of a weird side dimple. I guess there is a little bit of a dimple. Maybe that's the way really, really toned quads. Is that a quad? I don't know that muscle. I don't know muscle names. I know general shapes and locations, but I'm definitely not an expert on anatomy. Anyhow, this mold for Jada, I think, is definitely a winner, especially if they can knock out these two issues that I've had with the fairly loose knee hinge and this kind of misfit ball peg, although I've noticed as I've been working it through the review, it's gotten smoother. I'll have to keep going the rounds with it and Maybe it will kind of work into itself. I don't know. Okay, I think that about wraps things up. So, thank you for watching this episode of The Art of Action Figures.